Hello and welcome to Back to the Feature, the show where we talk about movies past, present, and future. Today, we're staying in the present and we're talking about the newest movie starring Charlize Theron, Atomic Blonde.
Oh my God, I think I love you.
That's too bad.
Atomic Blonde stars Charlize Theron, as I said before, as an undercover MI6 agent who is trying to track down this list of double agents and other agents out in the field. Obviously, something that could be bad for her and everyone she knows around her. So that's kind of the basic premise of the story. John, what did you think going into Atomic Blonde?
Well, I was really excited for it. This is David Leitch, the co-director of the first John Wick.
And future director of Deadpool 2.
Yes, and Chad Stahelski and David Leitch, these guys have been working as stuntmen stuntmen and stunt directors and all those different things, but they finally broke out into the director's chair, and I just can't wait to see all these movies that they plan on making, and I hope they have really bright careers. But we saw what Stahelski did with John Wick 2 this year, and I was really excited to see what David Leitch would bring it to his first solo project, and I really enjoyed Atomic Blonde. I don't think it quite reaches the levels of John Wick, but yeah, I had a blast at the theater with it.
I'm a big fan of the John Wick film franchise. I can't wait for the third one. And obviously, ever since the movie came out, the names Chad Stahelski and David Leitch are two names that have stuck out to me. And I've been very excited about everything that they've been doing and them coming to the forefront. They actually were second unit directors and stuff like Captain America, Civil War, things like that. These guys know how to film action. They know how to make action look really great. They know how to catch raw action and find those great shots and get those great performances from the actors. So to hear Charlize Theron, who we know has some experience doing this, Aeon Flux, which is not a great movie, but did demand stunts from her and fighting from her, and we see her as a commanding character like Furiosa. It's so cool. I mean, for me, she's one of my top just favorite actresses.
Yeah, she's one of the best out there.
I was so excited when I first heard about this. Definitely did not quite hit the heights of John Wick, but I definitely think there's a lot to like here, and I like, though, that it's different than John Wick. It has something else to offer, which also I think was part of the problem with the movie. It's a spy movie. This isn't an action movie. This is definitely a spy mystery slash action movie.
Yeah.
It's the spy part of it is a big part of it, and I think they're really trying to capture the tone of some of those old school spy movies and pulpy spy comics. This is based off of a comic adaptation, The Coldest City, which is one I'm not very familiar with.
Yeah.
As a comic book, so it's an interesting kind of unknown-ish property.
I felt like it definitely felt that way. It felt very comic booky, which I really did enjoy the style of this movie. I thought the direction, not just with the action, because the action is directed really, really well. I mean, some of the best out there, which is to be expected. But I thought his world building and the different it really does feel like 1989 Berlin. I thought it was shot exceptionally well. And the set pieces, not just the action set pieces, but just the film set pieces and the different things that he's got going on. I just thought the world really was brought to life, and it felt really lived in.
I think that not a lot of people realize that there was multiple directors on the first John Wick, and I think that when I watch now John Wick 2, I felt that there was something different or missing from it just being Chad Stahelski and then David Leitch. I felt like there was... when I watched this and watched David Leitch, I realized what it was. And that it was just kind of there's these really gorgeous shots, the way that he's able to use lighting, I thought was so well done, in the scenes in the club with Sofia Boutella and stuff like that, where he just used the lighting and stuff of the environments really, really well. He just made it look glossy and gorgeous, and like you said, comic booky. So tonally, that was a really cool thing to see. And as you stated before, these guys know how to do action sequences. I think that they're the future of action directors. I mean, we have some of our George Millers and stuff hanging around, but they're older. These guys, I feel like, are going to be that next class, like them and Gareth Edmonds and stuff. And Keanu, when he goes back behind the director's chair again for something again, like maybe Man of Tai Chi, these guys are the future. And I think that the action sequences in this are proof of that. That last action sequence in Atomic Blonde is phenomenal. Charlize performs so well in it, and we see the guy that was the main bodyguard in John Wick 1 comes and does it. And as soon as I saw him, I mean, I was really excited. I thought that he fought really well with them, and he knows, obviously, he must work with them very closely.
Yeah.
He always does a really good job with the choreography, so it really brought that fight to another level.
The choreography is great, and I mean, like the staircase action set piece, like that scene is awesome. The tracking shots that he uses in this movie, and it's so impressive. It's just unprecedented. Like you just don't see it in anything else out there. So like stuff like that, Atomic Blonde is definitely up there. I felt like with John Wick with some of those action scenes. But like supporting cast of Atomic Blonde, I thought actually it had a really good supporting cast. James McAvoy is just, I mean,
he's one of those guys that can't do anything wrong in my eyes, kind of.
And John Goodman's still getting some work. I mean, he's not like standout in this movie, but he is fun in his role. And Sophia Boutella.
Toby Jones is actually a character actor I've always been a big fan of. I think he's really great, and he has a nice role in this. Eddie Marsden as well as Spyglass, another really good like character actor. It's one of the things I loved about John Wick is they had these like little actors, like not little actors, but I mean just guys that don't get like those like roles all the time or like bigger roles all the time. Guys like Willem Dafoe and John Leguizamo in the first John Wick, things like that. So it was cool to see those guys as well. They're guys that I've really enjoyed in a lot of other properties as well.
So no, we didn't really talk about it, but what were some of your negatives then in this film?
I was touching on it earlier that, it's supposed to be this kind of, spy thriller, and it's supposed to have these twists and turns and stuff like that. I think that on paper, the twists and turns are great. The story itself is great. I feel like they didn't execute the story as good as it could have been.
Yeah, those are actually the exact same complaints for this film that I had. I felt like it was trying to be smarter than it needed to be. I don't think it needed to really have all these twists and turns.
But you see, I like that. I just feel like there was better ways of showing that it would just streamline it, make it more lean.
I felt like the execution was off.
Yeah.
In some of the twists and turns that they chose to do. But it really did knock it down too much for me. I still really enjoyed this movie.
I think that as far as like I said, the plot and if you were to see the synopsis of the plot, like every like beat that happens, I think you could have kept them, but you could have still made this movie much leaner. I think that would have made a lot more sense. As far as like for the audience, it's like I felt like I understood everything that happened when I left, but I was just sort of like the reveals weren't as satisfying as they could have been.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it just at least something on the table. It feels like that there's a really good movie there. But there's just something left on the table. And the other thing that didn't gel with me, actually, was the soundtrack.
Oh, you didn't like the soundtrack?
It's filled with hits. And that's always nice. Yeah, you got lots of hits. But they're also... I'm sorry, I've heard those. It was like half of it was the Grosse Pointe Blank soundtrack, guys, first of all. So there's that. But it's just... It's songs we've heard in movies... How many times? Yeah. Multiple times. Films that get used a lot. 99 Love Balloons. How many times have you guys heard that? That's in this. So it really was like, oh, hey, look how 1989 we can be by putting in all of these really big hits. Where I think when you look at something like Guardians of the Galaxy and what their soundtracks have done and why they're great, why people love them, is because at the same time as giving you familiar, they give you something new or something obscure or something that you just maybe passed over. Mm-hmm. So I think that if this movie and its soundtrack had some more hidden depths, it wouldn't have felt so, dare I say, Suicide Squad-y.
Ooh, I didn't feel it quite that bad, but...
But it definitely was like, hey, you love this song, right?
Yeah.
You love this song, right?
Yeah.
I might as well have patted you on the head.
Yeah, I can see that. Some of the complaints that I've heard for this movie is like the lack of character development, specifically with Charlize Theron's character. I don't understand that complaint because we're not supposed to know anything about her.
No one complained about that with Clint Eastwood, so...
Oh, yeah, his whole career?
It's a man with no name movie. It just happens to be a woman with no name movie.
Yeah, but she's not developed enough.
You weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
I think. The whole plot is really developing who she is.
Yeah. And we're going to see more, too, I think, if this movie makes any of its money back, which I'm sure it is, because I don't think its budget was more than $30 million. We'll probably see some sequels to Atomic Blonde.
I would not mind that at all.
Nope, I would not mind that at all either.
If you just made it a little leaner... But I definitely like the spy thing. Give me a complex almost convoluted plot. Like, I like that in this. I thought that was actually good. It made it feel like espionage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has all those twists and turns. Who do you trust? You know what I mean?
I
thought
Bill
that was
Skarsgård showing up too as a sporting character in this too, and I liked him in that. I mean,
ever since this last trailer, a friend of mine pointed out about his eyes in there, so I was trying to look at his eyes a lot. I was like, are they straight, or does he got that Forrest Whitaker eye a little bit?
It's not Forrest Whitaker. It's weird though.
I think that's put on. We'll talk about it though when we review it. we're gonna get to the bottom of this just for you guys. If he's got a lazy eye or not, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
But no, I did like seeing him as well. I thought he was a nice little supporting character in there as well. There's a lot of interesting characters. I would say that some of them get enough time, some of them don't. But overall, I didn't think that was the biggest complaint at all. James McAvoy's character is extremely interesting and kind of a puzzling person in that way where it's like, you really don't know. This guy could easily be the bad guy. He could easily be the good guy.
Yeah.
He could easily be anything.
He could be 23 different people. Easily.
I almost broke out my Hedwig impersonation for that. But, no, yeah, I mean, he's just such a great actor. He knows how to play that so well. You can tell he was having fun.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, I think that James McAvoy in general, like, I think if you notice, he picks things that he's going to have a good time with. And this is definitely, I think, one of those where he's just really happy to show up and have play in this world and stuff and wear the costumes and
I had fun watching him do it.
Oh yeah, like I said, he's one of those guys that to me is near infallible. There's just so many things that I've seen him in, and I've seen him back since he showed up on Shameless in the UK and stuff, and he's just been since he was that age just such a great actor, and just every time I see him, I'm on board.
Yep.
So, John, we've gone over our positives and negatives for this film. What is your final summary and grade for Atomic Blonde?
I had a lot of fun with Atomic Blonde in the theater. It surprised me with certain things, but, I felt like the movie had a little bit of... It was a little convoluted with its plot. I felt like the execution just wasn't quite there, but really those are my only true complaints. I felt like David Leitch did a fantastic job with all the action choreography and just the set pieces, and it benefits from such an awesome supporting cast. Charlize Theron is a badass, and I just cannot wait to see more from this director. So I give Atomic Blonde a solid B.
Yeah, I have to agree. It was a very fun movie. I enjoyed a lot of it. I really liked its spy thriller tone. I think that there's things in there that I wouldn't necessarily take anything out of the plot, but I would definitely tighten and lean this movie out and maybe not answer so many questions. Maybe leave a couple things a little more ambiguous. I think that it's trying to show us everything and make sure that we understood. I think that it kind of bogged the movie down just a little too much. But that being said, its action choreography is top notch. Got me really excited for the fact that this man is going to be directing Deadpool 2 and that what he's going to bring to these action sequences in Deadpool 2. I mean, I think if you guys really want to see that movie, I would definitely check out Atomic Blonde. The action scenes alone will get you really excited. Though it's not quite as much of an action movie as the John Wick films are. It's definitely, when the action hits, it hits huge. And Charlize Theron really knows how to pull this off and plays this character so well, and I really want to see her reprise it in another, maybe just a little leaner film. All that being said, I'm also going to give Atomic Blonde a B. So that's been our reviews today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. Tell us in the comments what if you guys saw Atomic Blonde, what you thought of it, and tell me what is your favorite action film. Alright guys, you can find us on Twitter at BacktoFeature. You can also find us on our Facebook at /BacktoFeature. I've been Giovanni Carlo.
And I'm John Vidaloo.
And we'll see you guys next time.
And there's no way to slow. If I knew what I knew in the past, I would have been like that on your ass.
Oh my God, I think I love you.
That's too bad.
Reach out, touch,